Hey guys, I'm Santosh and I'm back with an interesting topic today. I think most of you might have heard about market depth, and most of you might have seen this in Zerodha or any of the trading terminals. What it actually means and how the fluctuation in a stock actually happens. So I'm going to explain you everything in detail. How the stock increases in its price and how and why it decreases in its price. So we'll look into it in detail. So for this, I have taken Bajaj Finance as an example, and I'm assuming the LTP, which is last traded price of Bajaj Finance, to be 7,400 here. And in general, as a buyer, we always want to buy something cheaper, and the seller's mindset will be different. He wants to sell his share at a higher price, so that everything is wants to make some profit. They wants to make money, so they want to buy cheaper and sell at a higher price. So this is general mindset. Usually what happens for any share price, if you go to market depth, you will find a list of bids present and also the list of offer prices present. And for understanding purpose, I have taken some random prices here, and random order numbers, and random quantity here. So this green section will be treated as a buyer section, and this red one is for sellers. Now, when the last traded price of Bajaj Finance is at 7,400. Now let me help you understand what last traded price means. You know uh, because most of you might have heard this term many times, but you know uh, understanding this term is actually very important, because see, the term itself says that last traded price, which means the last time when the Bajaj Finance share got exchanged between the buyer and the seller, at one particular price. Now that price is treated as the last traded price. In this case, lastly, the Bajaj Finance share got exchanged between seller and buyer at a share price of 7,400. So it is showing 7,400 under last traded price column. Now, until the next trade happens, here trade means the exchange, the transaction, a buyer buying a share and seller selling a share. So until this happens, you know uh, there is no point in price fluctuation, because only when the next trade happens, then the new last traded price will come into picture. So in order to execute this next trade, the system checks for bids and offers, and if there is any match between them, then the order gets executed. In this case, here the best bid price available is 7,389 rupees. So there are some people who are interested in buying Bajaj Finance share at 7,389 rupees, but when you look at this offer price, it is very clear that the seller don't want to sell at 7,389 rupees. He wants to sell his Bajaj Finance share at 7,401 rupees. Now, as there is no match between bid and offer price, so the system won't execute this order, as there is no trade happening between buyer and seller. Then the last traded price will still be 7,400 itself. Now, So this keeps on continuing until the system finds a match between buyer and seller's price. Now, as a buyer, I'm more interested in buying Bajaj Finance share at any cost. Now what I'll do, I'll go to the trading terminal. I'll uh, change my limit price to 7,401. Now what happens? The trade will definitely execute because the bid price is matching with the offer price. But see here, uh, all the quantity won't be executed because see, buyers need 50 quantity of Bajaj Finance share at 7,401 rupees, but there are only 25 quantity of Bajaj Finance share available at 7,401 rupees. Now only 25 quantity will be executed. So as there is a transaction happened, which means a trade happened, that means the last traded price would be 7,401. Now the Bajaj Finance share is increased because a trade actually happened. Now if you carefully observe, uh, see, sometimes we see big candles coming in the chart, uh, you know suddenly, all of a sudden. And why that will happen? That is because some random guy like me uh, come to the trading terminal, and I want to place big order. So what I'll do, I'll simply go to Zerodha, and I don't want to get into hassle of limit orders, so I'll just go and place a market order. Now in this case, what market order means? Market order will be executed at the best possible price. Now as a buyer, I came to the trading terminal at now let's say this price of Bajaj Finance is at 9:30 a.m. in the morning. Let's assume this is at 9:30 a.m. and at 10 a.m. A buyer came and placed a market order of let's say 500 quantity. This is a big order, right? Now what happens? Now what happens? See, at 10 a.m. a buyer came and placed a market order of 500 quantity, right? Now what happens? A new buy order will come. As it is a market order, it will execute at the best available price. Now 25 quantity at 7,401 will be executed, and then 10 will be executed, and 40 will be executed, and 60, and this will keep continuing until 500 quantity of Bajaj Finance share were exchanged. Now once this is done, the last traded price would be somewhere maybe 7,415 or 7,420. So because of this one single order, the last traded price directly jumps to 7,420. Now in this case, because there is a random person who came to the market and just placed a market order of a huge quantity, and since there are no sellers available at limit orders with huge quantity, at the current market price. So what actually happens is the system takes the best possible price. So it keeps taking from the beginning and until the 500 quantity is met. So when this is done, the last traded price would be somewhere 7420 or 7425, which is why we see the big green candle coming up all of a sudden now. So the same goes with selling as well. When some random guy comes all of a sudden and who wants to sell his Bajaj Finance share of huge quantity or any different quantity at market price, then the system will check for the best possible price. Now when this happens, again the best the last traded price will be something like 7380 or something, which is why we see a decrease in the share price of Bajaj Finance. So this is how demand and supply plays. And quite often we see that a few stocks directly opening at upper circuit and a few are directly opening at lower circuit, and this happens directly at 9:15 a.m. and we think that even when there is no transaction happened between buyer and a seller, the stock directly opened at upper circuit or lower circuit, but this is not true because see, the market is not opening at 9:15 a.m. It is actually opening before 9:15 a.m., which means there are a lot of orders getting executed. So based on the last traded price, the stock directly opens at that last traded price, and if that price is maybe 5% above the last traded price, or 10% above the last traded price, or 20% above the last traded price, based on the NSE circuit rules, it is considered to be the upper circuit, or the same goes with lower circuit as well. So yeah, so this is how demand and supply works. And just remember, see, without actual trade happening, there is no point of calling it as last traded price. Last traded price can only be determined from the last transaction that was happened. Yeah, so I hope you guys understood. If you still have any questions, please post your question in the comment section and I'll go through it. Yeah, so that's all for today. Thank you.